Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching Raiders Report, brought to you by BetDSI, and I'm your host, Mitchell Renz. Follow me on Twitter, at MitchellRenz365 for the latest Raiders news and rumors. I went over my news and rumors, so now I'm going to get into my Raiders' first pick targets in 2019. So these are 5 players who I think if the Raiders had a big board, these are the top 5 players on that big board. First guy coming up, Greedy Williams for me, and I just love me some Greedy Williams because he's got that awesome name. Williams has ball skills, length, and speed, and it's going to allow him to challenge wide receivers for the football. Williams has Pro Bowl potential with a fire lit underneath his rear, okay? So he's got the ability to be a starter, and I think with a little push from Chucky, dude, like I said, could legit be a Pro Bowler. The downside with Williams, though, that a lot of people are saying is effort and lack of desire. I don't know if I see it all the time on tape, but I like Greedy Williams, and the thought of having Greedy Williams and Garyon Conley next to each other makes me smile. And when you're looking at here, he's 6'3", 184. Like, the dude's long, he's lanky, only redshirt sophomore, 33 tackles, 9 pass breakups in 2018. He's really talented, like really, really talented. And you look at his career at LSU. I mean, anytime you're going to have a guy who's been this productive in the SEC, I think, we should at least take a look at that. So in 24 games, 71 tackles, 19 pass breakups, and 8 interceptions. He's going to be able to battle and defend receivers that a lot of people just can't do. And if he adds a little bit more weight and fills out, heck, who knows? Maybe he could be a receiver for the freaking Raiders at this point. So would you want the Raiders to draft Greedy Williams? I want you to type 1 for yes or type 2 for no. My next player coming up here, I'll give a shout out to today's sponsor, BetDSI. Head on over to chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code LIVE120 for 120% deposit bonus. It's the best deposit bonus on the internet. Shout out to BetDSI for hooking us up with the best promo code on the internet. Next Raiders player that they could potentially draft, it's Quinnen Williams. And Quinnen Williams is a guy who I absolutely love. The redshirt sophomore is just 19 years old, and some may be concerned about his experience level when squaring off against more experienced offensive linemen early on. I'm not really totally sold on that. But his tape against the SEC should, really inspire a lot of people to that he's going to be really solid. He was the number 3 player on Tom Downey's past mock draft, and for, again, good reason. Super talented player, 6'4", 289 pounds. Remember, this kid's really young and really raw, and he could totally fill out to be potentially maybe the best player in the draft. In 2018, he had a solid year, 71 tackles, but then his career stats at Alabama, 19 games, a nice amount of tackles, 20.5 tackles for a loss, and then 7 sacks. Quinnen Williams is a really talented defensive tackle, and even though it's not the biggest need for the Raiders, when you're 4-12 and you need good players, guess what? If he's the best player on the board, I think the Raiders should go ahead and take him. So what's the Raiders' biggest need right now in the draft? Is it defensive end? Is it linebacker? Is it cornerback, or defensive tackle? I want to know from you, what's the Raiders' biggest need in the draft? And if you want to know from me, DM me on Twitter below at MitchellRenz365. Next player coming up here on the board, I talked about him in my rumors section, and it's Clelin Ferrell. Ferrell brings a dynamic athletic set to the table to pair with his ideal physical traits. Blessed with length and quickness, Ferrell knows how to use his gifts on the field and make plays. He can defend the pass and run, but really gets after the quarterback, which is something the Raiders desperately need, right? I mean, he's the second graded defensive end, according to Tom, and there's a reason why he went number 4 to the Raiders in Tom's last mock draft. The dude's talented. 2018, 55 tackles, 20 tackles for a loss, 11.5 sacks. 6'4", 265. The Raiders had only 13 sacks last year. 13. The next closest team had 30. We need to be able to add a defensive end, and if Ferrell can get after the quarterback, I'm all for it. And then, when you're looking at his career stats, I believe, or no, these are his season stats, my bad. 2018 season stats, 51 tackles, 3 forced fumbles again, and then the 18.5 tackles for a loss. The end of the day, the Raiders need as much help as possible getting after the quarterback, because if you watch as many Raiders games as I did, and if you're watching the show, I'm sure that you did, it's frustrating seeing a quarterback have literally all day to throw the ball. And yeah, guess what? It's going to rip up the cornerbacks a little bit, but if we can get some pass rush, it's going to help the defense a whole bunch. Raider Nation, I got a question for you. What's your New Year's resolution? Mine's to get 10,000 subscribers on the Oakland Raiders Report on YouTube. And if you don't have one yet, because you didn't comment anything, I got one for you. It's to get with our sponsor, BetDSI. Go to chatsports.com/bet. Use that promo code LIVE120 for 120% deposit bonus. You put down $50, you'll get $60 for free. Put down $100, get $120 for free. Put down $500, get $600 for free. What's your New Year's resolution? Get with BetDSI at chatsports.com/bet. My next player here that I think the Raiders should target in 2019, it's Josh Allen, and I'm starting to absolutely fall in love with Josh Allen. So Josh Allen's burst, bend, and length provides an exciting foundation to work from and becoming a high-impact pass rusher in the NFL. Allen has already proven his ability to function with his hands in the dirt and as a stand-up end, dropping into coverage, making him a scheme-versatile defender that would thrive in a defensive front that is multiple. Allen has tools needed to contribute right away at the NFL, making him a dynamic player, and I just think with a little work, man, all I'm saying is this. If he comes out and just has an incredible combine, okay? He comes out and has an incredible combine, we could really be looking at Josh Allen as the number 1 overall pick. And now some people may be kind of freaking out a little bit over that, but I'm telling you this. Watch him play. And the only thing that he doesn't have is the injury concerns. And when I'm debating between Josh Allen and I'm debating between Nick Bosa, I'm looking at the injury concerns, and I see a huge upside in Josh Allen at 6'5", 260 pounds. Okay? He played 4 years at Kentucky. He's a senior. And then 2018, I mean, he had 88 tackles, 21.5 tackles for loss, 17 sacks, and 5 forced fumbles. Like, I absolutely love watching him, and I've had so many people hit me up on my Twitter. Heck, people hit me up on YouTube saying, like, have you watched Josh Allen? I've started to watch a lot more tape. I'm starting to fall in love with him, and I think it's why that he went number 2 in Tom Downey's last mock draft. So I've talked a lot about a bunch of these players, but probably the 2 that I've talked about the most on the Raiders Report, or the player that I've talked about the most, is Clelin Ferrell. So who's the better player, straight up? Josh Allen or Clelin Ferrell? I want you to type A for Allen or type F for Ferrell. My last player who I think should be number 1 on the Raiders' big board, and well, he's going to be number 1 on a lot of teams' big board, it's Nick Bosa. So, I mean, Bosa projects as a high-impact 3-point stance rusher from day 1 and offering versatility to play in nearly every scheme in front. Bosa's universal blue-chip prospect who can be moved along in the line of scrimmage at the leisure of down and distance and at the will of his coaches. If I'm the Oakland Raiders and I know that I have a lot of holes to fill, and here's a player who could potentially fill a bunch of holes at one position or for one player, why not do it? Now, I get that he only played in 3 games this past season. But again, I think that he's probably the best pass rusher in this draft. And when I'm looking at the Raiders, I'm saying, okay, we had only 13 sacks. We just couldn't get after the quarterback. If Nick Bosa is the best player and he's healthy, that's the guy that I'm going to want to target. Now, I don't think he's going to be there at 4. I really do not think so. And there's been plenty of rumors going around where, you know, maybe the Raiders are going to have to trade up. Maybe Mike Mayock wants to trade up to number 1 to get Nick Bosa. Now, I don't even know if I like doing that. But if you're totally sold that Nick Bosa is 100% your guy, then, you know, maybe you do that. I mean, he's 6'4", 263 pounds, a junior. And again, I understand he only played 3 games in 2018. But his stats throughout his career at Ohio State are, you know, really, really productive. So when you just look at them, I mean, in 29 games, 77 tackles, 29 tackles for a loss, and 17.5 sacks. 17.5 sacks in 29 games. Nick Bosa is going to be he's going to be a Pro Bowler, and if he's anything like his brother, yes, I understand there's some risk with his brother with the injuries, but when his brother Joey's on the field, he's also really good, and I think when Nick's going to be on the field, he's going to be a freaking stud. Here are the Raiders' top targets in 2019. If you're just joining us now, I got Greedy Williams there at 5, and I got Quinnen Williams at 4, Clelin Ferrell at 3, Josh Allen at 2, and then Nick Bosa finishes it up at number 1. If you don't like those, DM me on Twitter at Mizzen+Main365. Give me your top 5 because I'm curious. So, who should be the top player on the Raiders' big board? I want you to comment below. If you don't like Nick Bosa, that's fine. I want you to comment. If you think it should be Josh Allen, let me know. If you think it should be somebody else, literally anybody, I'm always down to hear what you guys have to say because I appreciate it. And also make sure you guys subscribe to youtube.com/chatsportstv. But who should be the number 1 player on the Raiders' big board? If you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on YouTube, comment below. And again, give me your top 5. DM me on Twitter at Mitchellrenz365. If you think I look good, it's because of Mizzen+Main, and it's because of these amazing dress shirts. They got sweat wicking technology. They're unbelievably stretchy. Go to www.comfortable.af because these shirts are indeed comfortable as F. And guess what? They're made in America, so I promise you, it's the best damn dress shirt you will ever buy. I'll be back later on in the week with some more Raiders rumors. So until then, go Raiders. Raider Nation, what's going on? Is this the number 1 Raiders channel on YouTube? For Chucky Heads, believe it, baby. And if you haven't already, subscribe right here. I'm giving you Chucky Heads, news, rumors, Raider Nation rumors. And look at this, I'm making your life easier. Check out my next video. Thanks for watching, and go Raiders.